Corporateia, land of ambition, dreams woven in spreadsheets. From humble startups, giants rose, promises whispered, stocks soared high, a beacon of prosperity, or so it seemed. But every balance sheet holds a story. Glimmering towers pierced the sky, symbols of power and prestige. These architectural marvels, with their reflective glass and towering steel, stood as monuments to human ambition and ingenuity. They were not just buildings. They were statements, declarations of success and dominance in the urban jungle. CEOs with smiles bright announced record profits year after year. Their confidence was palpable, their optimism infectious. In boardrooms filled with polished mahogany and cutting-edge technology, they celebrated milestones and toasted to future successes. The numbers on the charts soared, reflecting their relentless drive and strategic acumen. The people cheered, investors rejoiced, the music played on. Corporate events became grand celebrations, where champagne flowed and laughter echoed through the halls. Investors, buoyed by the promise of ever-increasing returns, joined in the festivities, their spirits high and their pockets deep. The atmosphere was electric, charged with the thrill of prosperity. Yet, beneath the surface, a different tale brewed. In the shadows of these celebrations, a sense of unease began to creep in. Meetings grew tense, and the smiles of professionals faded into worried frowns. The pressure to maintain the facade of success weighed heavily on their shoulders, creating an undercurrent of anxiety. A story of debt hidden and vast. Behind the glossy exterior, financial documents told a different story. Overdue stamps marked the pages, and debt figures loomed large on computer screens. Business people stared at unpaid invoices, their minds racing to find solutions. The reality of mounting debt was a stark contrast to the image of unending growth, revealing the fragile foundation upon which these towers of glass and steel were built. Rumors trickled through the city streets, whispers of inflated numbers, of obligations masked. Were the giants truly strong or built on foundations of sand? The public, once enamored, grew wary. A seed of doubt had been sown. A call for transparency echoed through the land. The demand for clarity and honesty was no longer a whisper, but a resounding cry that reverberated through every corner of the nation. People from all walks of life, from the bustling streets of the city to the quiet suburbs, united in their quest for the truth. The air was thick with anticipation and a sense of urgency. The time had come for the shadows to be lifted, for the hidden dealings to be brought to light. A public inquiry demanded to unveil the truth behind the gleaming facade. Reluctantly, the corporations agreed. The decision was not made lightly. It was a concession to the mounting pressure from the public and the media. The executives, with their polished appearances and carefully crafted statements, knew that they could no longer hide behind their corporate walls. The inquiry was set to be a monumental event, one that would either restore faith in the system or expose the rot within. The nation watched, breath held tight, as the inquiry commenced. Every eye was glued to the screens, every ear tuned to the broadcast. The atmosphere was electric, charged with a mix of hope and apprehension. This was more than just a corporate investigation. It was a moment of reckoning. The stakes were high, and the outcome uncertain. Would the truth finally emerge, or would it be buried deeper than ever before?
We must uncover the truth, no matter how deep it is buried. The task ahead was daunting, but the resolve was unwavering. Teams of investigators, auditors, and analysts were mobilized, each one driven by a sense of duty and a commitment to justice. They sifted through mountains of paperwork, scrutinized financial records, and followed trails of evidence that led them into the heart of the corporate labyrinth. Every discovery, every piece of information brought them one step closer to the truth.
The people deserve to know what lies beneath the surface. The inquiry was not just about holding corporations accountable. It was about restoring trust and integrity. The citizens, who had long felt powerless and deceived, were now at the forefront of the movement for transparency. Their voices, once ignored, were now impossible to silence. They demanded answers, and they would not rest until they had them. The inquiry was a testament to the power of collective action and the enduring spirit of the people.
Transparency is not just a word, it is a necessity for trust. In the end, the inquiry was about more than just uncovering the truth. It was about rebuilding the foundation of trust that had been eroded over time. Transparency was the cornerstone of this new era, a principle that would guide future actions and decisions. The journey was far from over, but the first steps had been taken. The inquiry had set the stage for a brighter, more honest future, where transparency was not just an ideal, but a reality.
Section 5. Unveiling the illusion. Accountants with trembling hands presented their findings. The numbers, once lauded, now painted a grim picture. Debt spiraled, a tangled web. The truth, like a tidal wave, crashed upon Corporateia. The giants exposed stood vulnerable. Section 6. The weight of deception. The people cried foul, their trust shattered, investors panicked, the market plummeted. The towers of glass and steel seemed to tremble. The consequences of deception, heavy and swift, threatened to crush Corporateia. Section 7. A promise for tomorrow. In the world of business, promises are often made, but not always kept. This is a story of one such promise that changed everything. From the ashes of broken trust, a leader emerged. It was a time of great uncertainty, where the very foundation of the company seemed to be crumbling. Employees were disheartened and the future looked bleak.
A young CEO, with a heart for his people, stepped up to the challenge. He was not just any leader. He was someone who genuinely cared about the well-being of his team. He understood that the strength of the company lay in its people, offered a new way forward. Honesty, he declared, would be their guiding principle. He stood before his colleagues not as a distant figure of authority, but as one of them, sharing their struggles and aspirations, would be their guiding principle. He emphasized that transparency and integrity would be the cornerstones of their renewed mission. This was not just a corporate strategy. It was a heartfelt commitment to rebuild trust and foster a culture of openness.
His words resonated with the people, igniting a spark of hope. The employees, who had once felt lost and betrayed, began to see a glimmer of light. They realized that this was not just another empty promise, but a genuine effort to create a better future, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. The team started to come together, united by a common goal. They worked tirelessly, driven by the belief that they could overcome any obstacle. The young CEO's promise for tomorrow became a beacon of hope, guiding them through the challenges ahead. Section 8. Rebuilding trust. Slowly, painstakingly, Corporateia began to rebuild.
Companies, large and small, embraced transparency, their books open for all to see.
Trust, once broken, began to mend, fragile yet resilient. Section 9. A new dawn. The sun rose on a new Corporateia. Gone were the towering skyscrapers, replaced by buildings of modest size, reflecting a commitment to sustainable growth. The focus shifted from profit at any cost to shared prosperity and ethical conduct. Section 10. Lessons learned. The curse of the debtor, a harsh lesson learned. The pursuit of unchecked ambition, a path forever shunned. Corporateia, once blinded by its own success, now understood the true meaning of prosperity. Section 11. Corporateia reborn. From the ashes of deception, a stronger Corporateia arose, a society built on honesty, transparency, and a shared vision for a brighter future. The music played on, this time, a symphony of trust and genuine progress. Corporateia reborn.